This podcast is brought to you by Place Pros, commercial and investment real estate, and Nicotour.boutique, your one-stop shop for everything cool.
All right. Thank you so much for being here today.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for having me.
So let me just get into your story. There was an alligator named Chance the Snapper in Chicago, and it was evading even their local guy who was named Alligator Bob, and you're Alligator Robb.
Ma'am, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and he couldn't catch him, so then they contacted you. How did they know to contact you?
They had reached out to the state of Florida, the mayor's office up there in Chicago, Animal Care and Control. They had reached out to a bunch of different local zoos, the St. Augustine Alligator Farm, and everybody said, well, you want the guy who's the longest tenured guy who's been doing that work forever? Here's the guy.
Here's the guy.
Which is very humbling, very, very humbling.
Yeah, so you've been catching gators all your life.
This is year 28 doing it professionally, yes, ma'am.
But you grew up in a family that had that background, like your uncle. He was like a legend, I hear.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah,
Bill Robb.
Gator Bill. Yep. He did the work for about 20 years himself for game and fish, and then when it turned to fish and wildlife, did the nuisance alligator work for a very long time as well. Yep.
Nuisance alligator work. That's what it's called.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then so you got called up to Chicago, and then your whole world changed.
Yeah, I was already very well known and blessed to be very well known for my work, and it's different. I didn't know what to expect going up there. I got a call randomly one morning saying, hey, we need some help in Chicago with this gator. Again, I'd been following the story.
Oh, you had?
And it never expected to get a phone call about it. I think we had joked about, it'd be interesting if they called you. What would you do then? Like, I guess I'd go to Chicago and catch an alligator, I guess. Went up there. Remember arriving on the scene to this place, and there's a mariachi band playing. There's a couple dozen news crews. There's people. There's food trucks. There's people selling T-shirts and buttons, and thousands of people wrapped around this lagoon on the southwest side of Chicago.
Because they were like 10 days in to trying to catch him.
Yeah, and the people. There's this misconception people have that, well, they were all freaking out and scared. No, they were legitimately excited to see something different in the city of Chicago. It was entertainment. They were really into it.
Yeah.
Everybody was there waiting to see it, like a glimpse of him, and nobody knew who I was at that point, so I just kind of walked around asking questions and looking to see what was going on, and you'd hear people like, look, that guy's there, he is.
But you knew right away to clear them out. You knew that if you had ever a chance to catch him, this is not the way to do it, all the pomp and circumstance.
Well, there had been so much activity there, and he had been chased around by other people that were looking for him, that the best thing you can do in that situation with an animal is just get out of Dodge. Just back off, let things chill out.
Yeah.
They flipped the lights off in the park, and I went to work, and I was able to get it worked out.
And the reason he was there was probably like a pet that had gone awry. Maybe I read something about maybe it was like a drug dealer's pet.
There's it's one of the two. Believe it or not, they're common up there in drug raids. The law enforcement comes up with them on drug raids quite a bit.
Wow.
It was one of the two things, but it was 100% a captive animal. You could see the way his nose was bent. Was from being in captivity and something too small for the area. He was too big for the area he was in, and it kind of bent his nose back. So.
Aww.
Yeah.
So
rough life of animals.
So you cleared the whole place out, and you gave him some time to calm down and emerge. But you speak the language.
Yeah, one of the many studies we've done a long time through EARS, my nonprofit, is vocalization studies. So we'll take everything. There's 28 different species of crocodilians. We'll take hatchlings, juveniles, and adults and record the sounds they make, because when you travel to other countries to work with those animals, it helps to be able to say, hey, buddy, here I am. Come on, let's get some blood from you. Come here. Let's take a sample.
Yeah.
And they'll belly up at the bar pretty much. So
they will? So how do you say hi to an alligator? Wow.
Something along those lines.
And there's also mating calls that are more like
real deep bellows. Yeah.
Bellows. Yeah.
It's actually a B flat. Believe it or not, we've learned it's a B flat. Yeah.
And then I also read that like they had different dialects.
They do, depend on what part of the country they're in. We'll do work in North Carolina catching gators up there, and you can tell they hear the Florida man show up and start speaking alligator to them. They all kind of go,
They'll
"What in
laugh at
the
you.
world is going on?" Like this is either the most entertaining thing we've ever heard in our entire lives, or this guy's insane. We don't know which one.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, probably a combination of them both, but yeah.
Oh my God, that's fascinating. So you were able to call him out.
Yes, yeah, called him out. I catch probably 99% of the animals that we do work with via fishing rod. So you just like foul hooking a fish. You just snag him, bring him in. We put a catch pole on him, tied him up, and took him straight over to Chicago Animal Care and Control from there.
Wow. And he was like a, what, 5 foot?
Yes, ma'am, yeah.
5'3"? Wow.
Yeah, he's a big old boy these days. I'll actually be up there Friday to see him in St. Augustine.
He's in St. Augustine now, living the life.
Yep, living the rock star life, the rock star alligator life. Nobody even knew that was a thing until then, I don't think.
But you too. So after this happened, you went on this like whirlwind of celebrity. Tell us, you met the mayor?
Yeah, they kind of sort of gave me the key to the city. Yeah, it was a blessing. It was neat to meet her and chat with her. It's been one thing after the other since that whole story. You know, it's
yeah.
It's hard to even put it into words because what a sincere blessing it's been.
You met all the big people in Chicago. You went to Wrigley Field. You threw out the first pitch, and now you're friends with all of them.
Yep, good peoples.
You met Jerry Springer,
which I had no idea who that was, but yeah, that's a whole different story too.
Yeah, that's so great. Who else? What else have you sort of come into?
Done events up there with everybody you can think of. The Murray family. Done events up there with Dolores Jordan, Michael Jordan's mom. I mean,
the Murray family being Bill Murray's family.
Yes, ma'am.
And
yeah.
What are they into?
They're huge supporters of first responders. They have a nonprofit they run where they support basically first responders and military around the world, and that's them and a lady named Betsy Shepard that take care of all that. And they bring in law enforcement officers and military from around the country, around the world that have had instances, you know, whether that be a school shooting, a building collapse, whatever might be going on, to kind of give them a couple days to take their mind off all that stuff. It's a golf tournament they do every year.
That's really nice.
Yeah, called Canal Shores.
So you're involved and you're connected now. And you even wrote a book, Our American Alligator.
Yeah, that's kind of my life's work all in one place. Kind of put all of our research up until that point that we've done in one area. So when people have alligator-related questions, they can just go there and they can find it all. Anatomy, physiology, myths, you name it, it's all in there with pictures from around Brevard County that of alligators in weird spots that we've worked with forever.
That's so cool. And because alligators have been around like since the dinosaurs, am I right?
Well, you know what happened to the dinosaurs, don't you?
They got eaten by alligators.
They sure did. Man, you went with that very well. You rolled right into that. That was killed my joke line, but yeah, that was perfect.
Sorry.
No, that was good. You're the first one to ever just put it right out there. I like it. Okay. Knew my punchline before I ever got there. That was good stuff.
Sorry about that. But you've also done children's books. You're really taking the celebrity to great places. You also have your own podcast, and you invite everybody on that has something to say.
Yeah, it's a lot like what you guys are doing. We're just trying to be a blessing to people, not only in the wildlife world, but people that are local here that need that 5 minutes to talk about what they're doing and discuss it. And everybody has such a unique journey and a story, and if you can find a way to highlight that and what's going on, then I feel like you're doing the right thing.
Well, yeah, you have to have those conversations.
Yep.
So you also made a foundation, the Environmental Education, Awareness, Research, Support, and Services.
Yes, ears. Yes,
ears.
Or we jokingly say ears. Yeah.
It's EARSS.
Yes, ma'am.
Talk to me about that.
So that was something I put together right before everything in Chicago happened, and it was, again, just right place, right time. Again, as a person of faith, I believe that's the good Lord kind of putting things together the way they're supposed to be. Mm-hmm. We were put together to provide educational programs, which we've been doing forever. I think we did 100 educational programs last year from everybody from elementary schools, every library in the county we hit. We covered DOD, you name the groups, we go there, we do safety programs for them. Blue Origin, you name them, we go there, talk to them about the animals that are there, what to be worried about, what not to be worried about. We travel internationally too, doing work. We just got back from Belize, 3 weeks ago?
I saw
down
that.
There, catching crocs down there.
You helped make a pen for the alligators that they catch.
Yeah, they needed a pen for their crocodiles, so we made a new setup for them, and then we went out and caught some crocs around Belize City down there.
So alligators, crocodiles, I know that the difference is in their snout, but you keep referencing them as all crocodiles.
They're crocodilians, yeah. They're all that fits alligator, crocodile, caiman, and then there's always one oddball group with scientists always have, which are called gharials.
Gharials, what are those?
Those are the fish-eating crocodiles in India. They have the real long nose, the ball on the end.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But you don't stop at crocodilians. I've seen you were holding snakes and possums.
We do a lot of amazing work through ears. Beyond the educational outreach, we do biodiversity research here across Brevard County and the Air Force Base now, where we go out to these properties. We set arrays, we'll put out carpets, we'll put out cover boards, whatever we can do to kind of document the animals and species that are there, that are traveling back and forth through the habitat types.
Mm-hmm.
That helps them update their land management plans, helps them get more grant funding for what they're doing. And it's vitally important to know what's there so you can know how to take care of what's there.
Yeah, I hear that Florida has like the most alligators anywhere. Is that right? Or like Louisiana has
4 times as many as we do.
4 times.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we're
we have
next.
a solid million. Yeah.
We have a solid million.
Yep.
And right around the place where you grew up in Titusville, right? There's
Port St. John, yep.
Yeah, Port St. John. There's a lake there that has a lot. So how are you educating people, and like what's the goal? Is it to keep them like in line, or you're catching them a lot?
Yeah, so with crocodilians in general, one of the things we try to preach is not be complacent. Understand your surroundings, don't be complacent. This is a story we kind of preach globally, right? So I'm also part of a group called the Crocodile Specialist Group, and I sit on a human crocodile conflict board for them. So we try to preach being aware of your surroundings, which everybody should be doing all the time anyhow.
Right.
But be aware of your surroundings. Understand there's better things to worry about. I jokingly say there's, worry about taxes or terrorism, worry about something like that, because an alligator is nothing. It's going to sneak up and kill you. It's not the way it works. The instances where locally here people are getting bitten or hurt anywhere around the state, it's people that are taking things for granted. If you're feeding an animal and you expect something bad not to happen to you, you're kind of being silly.
Right.
You know what I mean? Especially a wild animal. And beyond that, if you're feeding that animal, you're setting the next person up for failure. It might not be you. You're setting the next person up for failure. And if you're going out in, let's say, a wildlife area, a wild area in the middle of the night and going for a swim, and you get bit by an alligator, imagine that.
Well,
maybe make better choices.
That happened in Disney World, or is it Land or World here? It's Land.
Yeah, that was a little bit different.
Tell me how that was different, because I started looking into that, and they knew they had a problem. They took like 4 alligators out right before that happened, and 4 more after it happened. I guess there might have been signs there. The people in that case didn't press charges or anything. What happened there?
So there's some times where you got to understand when something like that happens, it's a terrible day for the person. It's a terrible day for the animal. They both made mistakes that they're not going to probably ever get over. Mm-hmm. If the person lives through it, the animal's not going to live through it. It's gonna be bad on both ends. And once you understand that, and you kind of, each one of them has their own dynamic to it. Each conflict like that has its own dynamic. That was people that they weren't from here. They didn't know. It's hard to educate somebody or blame somebody from something that they have no knowledge of. That was just a terrible situation that happened that really I don't think anybody could have controlled differently.
No, you don't think so?
I mean, taking all the alligators out of an area is not the answer.
Okay.
There's a fine line there. You will meet communities, because we'll go to communities. Like we were in the Great Outdoors after the guy lost his leg there in the Great Outdoors, and had that conversation for 1,000 of their homeowners there in the area. It's something you have to approach very delicately, and let people know, look, there's no right answer here as far as every alligator should be kept safe all the time and every alligator should be taken out. It's somewhere in between, more on the animals all staying there. There just needs to be more awareness and education given on what is a concern and what is not a concern.
Right.
And that's where you approach the fine line of everybody having their own idea of it, but there's still a right and a wrong.
Okay.
So it's again, it's different for
land
every.
with them.
Correct.
You just have to do it wisely.
And they're a keystone species. They're there for a reason. They're a very important animal to have in the local ecosystem. You have to have them there. Without them being there, everything starts to fall apart. So, I mean, they're providing food for other animals. They're providing homes for other animals.
Really?
They keep everything in a balance.
Okay.
I mean, they're apex predators tend to do that, which an alligator is.
Okay. But sometimes it just gets out of hand, and that's when you get called in.
I haven't done that work in a while, but that's usually when that happens. Yes, ma'am.
Wow. And so now you're just educating people on how to be more aware, and
yep, which is a nonstop. I mean, it's what you guys are doing right now. It's what we should all be finding ways to do with whatever we're doing. Education should be a main mindset in whatever's going on with anybody.
The one thing that I learned now you clear it up for me, because they say if you run into an alligator you have to run zigzag, but now it's like I hear that's not accurate information. You should just bolt.
Well, first thing, an alligator's never going to chase you, so you'll not have to worry about that in the first place. Interactions like that are going to happen within 5 to 8 feet of the water. If an animal is coming up to you, that's an animal that's probably been fed, or you're going to be able to see and understand things like that if you're out of the water enough to go, okay, something's wrong. It's probably time to back up.
Yeah.
Just make yourself big, back away. Things will be good.
Okay.
There's always this misconception, too, about mating season or nesting season, which I like to say it's actually called. Mm-hmm. There's only about 10% of females that'll legitimately protect a nest. It's very rare. Most females, if you come across their nest, they're going to see you. They're going to be like any other alligator. They're going to bail out and never want to see you again. They're not going to hang around to talk about it. You will meet, again, probably 1 in 10. They will turn around and hiss at you or jog towards you. And all you got to do is just back up and you're good to go.
Yeah, and I heard the hiss is what you should watch out for, not necessarily that bellow or the stuff you see in cartoons. It's when they start hissing is when they're upset.
They're all individuals just like we are. There's some that are not so smart, just like people. There's some that are super Einsteins, geniuses. Really? And there's some that are very temperamental, and there's some that are just the most laid-back critter in the entire world. Every side of the spectrum, they all hit it.
Wow. And you brought one here today.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. It's hard to be Alligator Robb and not have an alligator with you. It's really,
I know.
It's a hard mix to have.
Should we take it out?
Sure. Yeah, let's take a look at him. So this is Greg.
Greg, okay.
Yeah, he's very sensitive about his name. This is Greg with 3 G's. Yep.
3 G's at the top or 3 G's at the end?
Yes.
Okay. And is Greg a genius, or is he... Oh, my God, he's a little guy.
Yep, this is Greg. He's one of our educational animals, so this is what he does for a living.
Oh, my goodness.
One of the many things we try to talk about to people about these guys is, that they grow very, very slow. They grow very, very slow. Yeah, sure, you can hold him.
Oh, my gosh.
Just one hand here, and then one hand down here.
He's
so he doesn't pee on you. There you go.
Oh.
You want to put fingers
here.
Right there. There you go. Yep.
I'm holding him.
There you go.
So he's an alligator.
Yes, ma'am, American alligator. Just don't squeeze him too hard.
Oh, I don't want to. Oh my gosh, he looks like he's smiling.
That's what a beautiful thing about crocodilians. They're all always smiling.
So he's what, about 2 feet?
He's not quite 2 feet.
Not quite.
Yeah, he's maybe a foot and a half.
And how old is he?
He's 2. Yep. In the wild, that'd be a 3-year-old probably. This is him doing his work for a living,
and
so he gets it pretty easy.
He's just hanging out.
Yep, this is what he does. We get to talk about him and his osteoderms and his eyes and the sensory organs they have around their mouth and how they work and how they're built, and it just
Yeah, I see like a slit between his eye, or right after his eye. What is that?
Those are his ears? Yep, so they're actually flaps. That's what this whole area right here is, behind his eye. They're actually baffles. They will actually work like butterfly wings. They can move like butterfly wings.
Oh, wow.
And then, when you see him blink there, you can see his nictitating membrane come forward and go back. They got 5 fingers in their front hands with 3 claws and 4 fingers in the back hands with 3 claws. And right here where your middle finger at is actually half of his body. That's their midpoint right here where your middle finger's at. So they're exactly half tail, half body. And if you look at those little dots around his face, those are sensory organs. We call them ISOs. Each one of those little dots can fill 1 drop in 1,000 gallons. So imagine if he's out in a pond somewhere and there's a fish in distress, or there's a turtle that's hurt, or somebody's feeding the animals, they can fill that, be underwater, come right to it, pick it up, grab something, move on from it, never have to even surface. Interesting thing, alligators and caiman have those around their mouth. Crocodiles have those little dots on every scale across their entire body. So it just magnifies their ability to fill everything a million times over.
Wow.
So it takes a tool that's really, really special and makes it extraordinary.
Now you have his jaw taped.
Yep. I figured you'd like your fingernails to stay on your fingers.
Is that he would just nip at you if not?
Well, probably not. Probably
is
not.
Is he like
but
a puppy?
No, probably not. But it's one of those things where, fingers are cheap. Tape is cheap, fingers are not. One of those kind of things.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
Could he do some damage at this size?
Yeah, you take your fingernail off.
Oh.
Yeah.
No.
When they're little, when they're first hatched, you can have them hanging off of every finger and have no problems at all. But as soon as that, maybe a few months go by, that changes pretty fast. And that's dead opposite with crocodiles. Crocodiles, when they come straight out of the egg, they're just not a good thing to get bit by.
Oh, really?
Because their teeth are already super long and ready to go.
Oh, my gosh.
And they have a tooth, of course, exposed in the bottom.
Right.
So they can, if you just put your hands over his mouth, they can cut you.
Snag you.
Alligators have an overbite, so just it's nice that way.
He's really cute.
Yeah, he's a team player.
You go.
Oh, Greg. He's a good boy.
Greg.
He was once... Greg, close your ears for a second. He was once called String Bean, and he grew out of String Bean and wanted to be Greg, so I was told.
And do they like being handled?
Yeah, I mean, he's used to it because he's been dealing with that since he was a youngin'.
Okay.
And this is what he does for a living.
But what do you do when you see one in the wild? Because he looks pretty cute.
Enjoy looking at him from a distance and move on. Yep, you got to understand that it's only 1 in 100 that makes it to 4 feet out of a nest. So your typical nest is between 24 and 48 eggs, and that's about 1 in 3 nests that actually makes it to being a 4-foot animal. You figure they're food for everything. They're food for other alligators. They're food for otters, birds of prey. You name the thing, it's all eating them. That's why reptiles in general lay a lot of eggs and have a lot of young.
Because they know most of them are gonna.
Yeah, they feed the local environment.
Oh wow.
One of the blessings behind the animal. That's how it works. Lots of free protein.
So when you capture them, do you always put them in a safe place like the zoo that you put?
So when we were doing our research with them, we're catching them. We're taking blood here in the back of his head.
Okay.
We're taking urine, so we'll catheterize them, and then we'll take a piece of tissue here, one of their first uprights off their tail, and then we put a pit tag right behind their ear, and we kick them in the butt and send them on their way.
Oh, really?
Yep. The whole process takes about 15 minutes between catching him, taking the samples, and sending them on.
And what are you looking for in the samples?
We look at heavy metals, toxins, forever chemicals.
And what are you finding? A lot?
It's some interesting stuff. Yeah, we just finished up a study in the St. John's, and we're moving on to the rest of Brevard now.
Interesting. Very cool. And do you ever have to kill them?
There's different situations around the world where if an animal's killed somebody, that's the end of his story. Yeah. If it's killed somebody or hurt somebody, that's the end of their story. Which is very sad. Again, it's a very sad thing for anybody involved on both sides, including the animal. I mean, if he makes that kind of mistake, it's costing him his life.
How often do we hear about that, like per year?
This year's, as Florida grows, I think the last I heard we're getting 1,000 people a day showing up to Florida that are moving here. Yeah. As Florida continues to grow, wildlife interactions are going to continue to happen. These conflicts are going to be more and more common. And education like we do and have with these neighborhoods, these communities, are going to become more and more important because everything's being encroached upon. Yeah. You can say we're taking their homes away. People have to have somewhere to live. Right. They have to have somewhere to live. In turn, you're going to have you're going to have conflict, and these are tough conversations to have, but they need to be happening, and we need to be having them.
Right. When is this guy going to retire due to he's going to grow? Yeah.
Yeah, that is him retired.
This is him retired.
Yeah, this is as hard as he's going to have to work the rest of his life. Here you go.
Well, it was very nice meeting you, Greg. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
So cool.
All right, buddy. Thanks for being a team player.
He's like, I'm just chilling.
Yep. Again, this is his jam. He's a good boy.
Do they ever get super active?
Yeah, he'll sometimes have a temper tantrum, but it's rare.
What does that look like? Just hissy fit?
No, a lot of throwing himself around in different directions and running around in circles. Yeah.
What do you think that means? Is he hungry? Is he?
That's him saying, "I've had enough. Stop touching me now and put me away."
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you, Greg. You also brought a few more critters.
I did. Brought a couple of our more common critters here on the Space Coast that I think are maybe important to talk about.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Oh, So nobody likes to talk about snakes, but I like to talk about snakes.
All right. Yeah, me and snakes. But I'll be brave. Because I need to get educated, right? That's the whole point.
This is true.
Okay.
So this guy here is called a red rat snake or a corn snake, depending on who you're talking to.
Goodness.
It's probably one of the most common snakes we have in the state of Florida, right there with, probably with the black racer. You see they have what we call chevrons there in their back.
Is there a certain way to hold him?
Just jump on in. You'll be all right.
Okay. Wow.
Black and white there on the bottom. They're known
Ooh.
for having their checkers in the bottom. And if you can see what on their face, just like the water snakes we have.
It's okay if he's pulling away.
Yeah, just like the water snakes we have here. They have what looks like stitches on their face. That tells you right off the bat it's not a venomous snake.
The stitches on his face.
Yeah, vertical lines.
Okay.
Yep. Our water snakes have the same thing. He's pretty cool, isn't he? Again, the more relaxed you are with animals, the more relaxed they are.
I'm gonna.
Just don't let him get wrapped up in the mic, because then
Okay.
we'll be here for a minute.
Oh, he'll squeeze tight.
No, he'll knows where he'll go hide.
His belly is like super silky or shiny.
It's actually a biological property of their skin. It's really neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, really neat. She's freshly shed too, so.
Oh, is that? Yeah, she's
Yep.
very silky.
Again, you can see she's working what we call a Jacobson's gland. There, she's sticking her tongue out,
Yeah.
tasting the environment. So right now, she knows what your favorite color is, probably your home address, your tag number, all the important things. She's got it all worked out.
She's settling down. I think I am too. Wow. Okay, so this one might be mistaken for.
A lot of people see it and go, "Well, man, that's a copperhead." Like, guys, we don't have copperheads.
We don't have copperheads, guys. So this is just fine to see out in the wild.
Yeah, it's probably one of the more common snakes people will see on their front yard. Sometimes you'll see them climbing up the side of the stucco. I mean, they're an arboreal snake. They spend a lot of time in trees and climbing.
Oh, cool.
Yep. And if you have a chicken coop, you'll probably find one. They call them a chicken snake for a reason.
They like the chicken.
Yep. Rat snakes, yellows and reds, can be called chicken snakes or corn snakes.
Okay. Can I ask you a dumb question?
I don't think there are dumb questions, are there?
Well, when I was a kid, they talked about like a glass snake.
Yeah, the glass lizard. Yeah.
Is it true that if you just smash him on the ground, he'll break like a piece of glass?
Well, I hope nobody's smashing one on the ground, but they will lose their tail. They are a lizard. Their skeleton has has legs.
Oh.
So it's one of the interesting things people use to talk about evolution and adaptation and a lot of other things.
That is really cool. All right, so nothing to fear here. If I'm touching it, it's fine. But you don't want to do that in the wild, right? Just leave him alone.
Yeah, there's no chance of getting bit by a wild snake if you don't go putting your hands on the wild snake. You know, things still happen again, but if you're minding your P's and Q's, you can limit those opportunities for bad things to happen.
Does this guy have teeth?
Oh yeah, everything can bite.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, no muzzle there.
No muzzle. Okay. We're cool. We're fine. All right.
This one's a team player.
Yeah, she's cool. He, she, who's that?
She.
She.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you, lady. Really cool.
All right, these other two are not team players.
Okay.
So we'll just look and not touch these two.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Just warning you ahead of time. So this is a yellow rat snake, the cousin of the one we just looked at. This is a strictly arboreal snake, spends most all of his life in trees.
Oh, really?
The only time you'd see him out of a tree is if he's coming down to climb to another tree.
Interesting.
Eat birds. They're again another one that's very common in chicken coops because they love chicken eggs. Let's see where he's at.
I actually didn't realize how snakes would be up in trees. I always thought to look for them on the ground. Okay, so she's not as
Yep. So this is
patterned.
a 4-line yellow rat snake.
Okay.
What's interesting about this guy, like with a lot of our snakes here in Brevard County, they look very, very different when they're young versus when they're adults.
Okay.
This is actually our second largest indigenous species to the state of Florida. They get over 8 feet long. You can almost make out the chevrons that are still there as this one's growing, but they look a lot like the red rat snake, but with this background, almost gray, when they're young, and they lose all those chevrons and get the stripes. Our black racers know the same thing. They look like a red rat snake when they're young, and as they get older, they lose all that and become jet black.
I feel like I've seen black racers like in my garage and stuff.
Yeah,
Is that pretty common?
The most common snake in the state of Florida.
Okay.
Without a doubt.
But
and
this one's
these
a little
two are right
more
behind it.
why don't I want to handle this one?
This was a wild snake as of a handful of days ago.
Oh, really?
Yep, he's here just to hang out with you guys, and then he's back on his way after this.
Oh, where did you catch him?
Doing research. Yep,
Yeah.
doing research. Yeah, he's one of our research snakes, so we'll enjoy looking at him, use him for an educational program, opportunity like this, and then send him out on his way. They're very, see the big eyes. They're known for being a very visual snake.
Yeah.
I always tell people I carry a snake whistle. That's how I catch all my snakes. Nobody ever gets my jokes. Like, snakes don't have ears. They don't have external ears. So,
right.
Yeah.
Do you ever wear snake skin or leather or anything like that?
No.
You shy away from that?
No, not. I like snakes. I don't really want to wear them.
Okay.
I mean, nothing wrong with somebody that does. It's just not my thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
I figured you either were or you weren't, but.
Yep, not really my thing.
Yeah.
All right, we'll put this guy away.
All right. Bye-bye. And so you're just taking them, you say, for research purposes. Give me an example of what are you trying to find out? Are you just
We're just
looking-
documenting what's on the properties.
the population?
Yeah, just seeing what's there. You know what I mean? Just getting a species list going of what's there on the properties.
Okay.
What's traveling back and forth and what's going on. Yep.
And this is through your foundation, or are you helping other?
We do this through ears. Yep. It's one
Okay.
of the many things we do. Yep.
That's really cool. And then this one says
Okay, so this guy,
king on it.
yeah, he actually eats other snakes for a living. So it's always very interesting to bring him out after you've had other snakes around you,
Because
he's
smell them.
he's automatically on. Yeah, he's like, whoa, well, look,
Uh-oh.
there's a Scooby snack somewhere nearby.
Oh my gosh. And is this part of your?
This is one of our snakes we use for educational programs.
Okay.
But he's a sneak attacker.
Oh God.
He will sneak attack your fingers.
Okay. I'll stay back. Ooh. That's a great color on him, though. Ooh, he's fat.
This is your Florida king snake. So we do have these here in Brevard.
Okay.
The ones we have are typically almost flip-flopped, where this guy's white and black. Ours will be black and white on the whole opposite side.
Can we hold him up?
Yeah.
Ooh.
And again, you see those same stripes on his face.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he's got a bigger tongue. He's just a bigger boy.
Yep. Again, king snake, because that's what they do, is eat other snakes. They are the king, and he will take every opportunity he has to grab something. They don't constrict it; they'll just grab it and start swallowing it.
Wow.
Yep. Hence the smaller head and big body, so he can just do whatever he wants.
How often do they eat?
Depends on what he's eating. This one we've got where he eats mice. If they're eating snakes, that takes them a while to digest that.
Interesting.
Yep.
And then you'll see the lump in his body.
Yeah, he'll double or maybe sometimes triple their body weight just by doing that until they processed it.
I've always wondered how they eliminate. There's no visual cue for that.
No, so reptiles, just like birds, have something called a cloaca. So that holds their sexual organs and holds their digestive tract within it. So they're holding concealed weapons, basically.
Where is it, though? Is it in their underbelly?
At their base, so their underbelly, yep.
Okay.
Like where you had your hand at in the alligator,
yeah.
that you had your hand over that so he didn't give you a bad wildlife experience.
Oh, okay. Because
Yeah.
if you hold it there.
If you hold your finger there, it keeps him from peeing on you, yeah. Just in case he wanted to.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah. There was an old joke Robin Williams had said for a long time that was his favorite word, because you could call somebody that and they had no idea you were insulting them.
A colloquia?
Cloaca. Yeah.
Cloaca.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll add that to my list of insults.
Oh, Lord.
Frank, you had a really bad surgery lately. Or when was that?
Yeah.
2020?
2021. Yeah, I had open heart
2021.
surgery in 2021. It was, I'd found out, I'd been up catching gators with the guys in North Carolina, and just, I felt myself slowing down. I didn't know what was going on. I went to my cardiologist and said, hey, I don't feel right. Like, what's happening? After some tests, he's like, well, it's time, Frank. I said, yeah, what is it time for? Well, that valve, you're going to have to either have that valve replaced or repaired. You better start looking for somebody that can do it, because you're different. You're a tall, thin guy. I had a chest surgery as a kid. It was called pectus excavatum, where they cut me this way, actually flipped my sternum, broke all my ribs, reformed my whole chest, and I wore a metal bar for a year in there.
I read about that. Was that just
It was to repair that. My chest was thin. They kind of built my chest out a little bit.
Okay.
And Yeah, that was a good time as a kid. I remember my dad and my brother trying to stick magnets to me. It was pretty funny. They made the best out of it. You know what I mean?
Like Romeo and Michelle.
Yeah, it was a titanium bar, so that was never going to work. But it was still pretty fun as a kid.
Oh wow.
But yeah. Oh Lord, yeah. So I started searching for a doctor to do this surgery. Was really struggling to find somebody to do it. I did tell you that Mount Sinai had reached out to me and said that, hey, we'll actually bring you up here and do this for you. But I was like, man, I don't know anybody in New York. Have to fly somewhere. Who knows how long I'm going to be in ICU.
Right.
I'd rather do that down here somewhere if I can find somewhere closer to home. And, not finding anybody, even finding them, WGN up in Chicago hooked me up with them and with the doctor who ended up doing my heart surgery.
Wow.
The medical team that had actually been down here and done research with us. And, went there, met the guy. He's like, yeah, I feel pretty good about it. I'm like, well, that's the first person to tell me you felt pretty good about it. And he's like, well, it'll be about an 8-hour surgery because we don't want to do a valve replacement. We want to do a valve repair. With the work you do,
oh really?
We really don't want you on blood thinners. It's not a good mix having you on blood thinners because all it's going to take is one animal nicking you somewhere and you're going to bleed out in the field. So let's go the extra time and do the
repair.
Do the repair. And so I'm like, okay.
Because the replacement, my father-in-law had like a pig valve put in.
Yeah, they'll do that or a mechanical one usually.
Oh.
Yep. So they can do those surgeries in the course of maybe 45 minutes, hour and a half.
Okay.
But he spent the extra time, this guy at Shands, to go through and really dig into it. And I didn't. That's one of the blessings behind the whole Gator in Chicago thing.
Yeah.
I didn't have any health insurance. I'd never really been able to afford health insurance because health insurance is insanely expensive.
Yeah.
I do this work because I love it. Going up there to Chicago, meeting those people, they were able to help me find the doctor to do my heart surgery, and they fundraised the money and paid my health bills off on top of that. So
that is amazing. That's a blessing.
Yeah, just the blessings. It's again, being a person of faith, it's the good Lord putting you where you need to be at the right time, and it's just repeatedly happened in my life over and over and over again, and there's no doubting that it's God putting you where you need to be.
And you're good to go now? You're healthy?
Yeah, it was 2 years, a couple months ago. Feel the best I ever felt. Okay. I was in Belize catching crocodiles 3 months out of open heart surgery.
I
spent 2 weeks in ICU afterwards. My lungs didn't wake up, so they had to intubate me again, and had to relearn how to walk and all that good stuff. So it's been a journey, which again we all have. There's a lot of people that have even crazier health journeys than that,
right.
And it's what you make out of it. You can decide you want to spend the rest of your life on the couch, or you want to get up and get something done.
You got to get up and go.
Yeah, if you want to get feeling better, you get up and you get after it.
Yeah.
Yep. So I was in Belize, I think 3 months out catching crocs with them down there, and.
Okay.
Yes.
So heart surgery is not going to stop you.
No. Lord willing, no. It's been very good. I probably feel better now than I've ever felt.
And
have gears that I never even knew were there.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
And what do you hold for the future then?
I'm going to keep building this nonprofit and keep going to it. We have yearly events we're doing now, which we're probably going to be starting making bi-yearly events. Our Ears to the Environment EcoFest events.
Right. That's in January.
Yeah, we're doing that in
January 19th.
Yep, January 19th in Cocoa Village. We've got some amazing sponsors behind us: Pat Fisher Nissan, Space Coast Executive Airport, Brevard Zoo, St. Augustine Alligator Farm.
Will he be there? Will Chance?
No. I'm not going to put Chance through that. He's been through enough. He deserves it. He deserves to chill. Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, there's a lot of amazing nonprofits behind us. Hello Again Books there in Cocoa Village. They've always been a huge supporter of us and what we're doing. So that day of event, we're having presentations inside from 9 to 4 in the Civic Center there in Cocoa Village, and then at 4 o'clock we move outside. And we have live music the rest of the evening out there in the amphitheater. So it's going to be should be a great time. Should be a great time. But again, without these amazing people that are supporting me and my research, and all these incredible groups around Brevard County that are doing so many life-altering things with our ecosystems and our environments. I mean, if you guys haven't talked to the guys at the zoo, Keith Winston and Zach and all those people about the things that the zoo is involved with and doing, everything from the aquarium on, the difference they're making here locally. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
unbelievable
you guys
stuff.
Are cleaning stuff up, educating.
Trying.
Yeah.
All you got to do is you keep trying.
And, you know, I love how you run your podcast out of Titusville High School. I was telling you that Hoover, back in my day, had a TV production studio, but it was small and it was limited space. Tell me what you're doing there, and are the kids pumped?
Yeah, it's great. Yes, we do our Ears podcast at Titusville High School. It allows the students to run the graphics and the audio and the cameras and everything we're doing. Lets them be involved. It's a class after class. You know what I mean? It's a class after school. We've had a lot of amazing guests on there. Like I was telling you earlier, we've had everybody from George went from Cheers on to different people here locally that are making a big difference. We had I think the one that's going up today is Lorelei Thompson, lady who owns Dixie Crossroads up in Titusville.
Oh wow!
And she's a big, huge influence to a lot of people in the wildlife world because all the incredible work she does.
Yeah.
Just every week we're trying to bring something new, show people here locally, and kind of mix in some stars from around everywhere that are doing neat stuff.
Amazing. Well, that's great.
It's way above my pay grade. Just trying to be a blessing to others.
Well, it also gives the students a chance to see how things work, and
it's great.
And you know, maybe make their own content someday.
There's a lot of the kids that are helping us that want to go on to be able to do their own podcasts, and they want to see how it's run, and it's giving them ideas and things to run off of. And a lot of them are going to school after this and are able to put that on their resume, like, hey, look,
absolutely,
I helped do this for 2 or 3 years, which we're on year 3 of ours. So
that's amazing.
It's great. It's great.
Oh, that's good. Tell me about you also deal with possums. Are you just catching them to just?
We come up in the daily research. We come across possums quite a bit. They've become one of my favorite animals.
Really?
Oh my gosh, I love possums.
Tell me more. We used to have like a little family in our backyard up in New Jersey.
Yeah, that they're such an incredible critter that's so misunderstood.
Yeah.
Their blood chemistry doesn't allow them to get rabies because their blood temperature is so low. They don't carry any blood-borne pathogens very rarely. There is a type of parasite that they'll carry in their urine, but that's a whole different story. Their blood naturally kills any tick or anything that bites them. They're known for eating ticks. That's not their main food supply. It's kind of been a misconception for a long time, but they will eat ticks.
Mm-hmm.
Any tick that bites them dies. It's just,
wow.
It's almost like they're walking around, they're cleaning up trash. They're killing these animals that can hurt us. They don't carry any diseases other than, the one parasite they carry in their urine. They're a very important critter to have around locally that everybody takes for granted.
Because you might be able to study how they eliminate the ticks so that...
There's been a lot of different things going on with that. Yeah, there are a lot of people are studying those things.
Well, that brings me to, because I saw that you said that alligators or crocodiles, correct me, that they're the perfect single species for human health and that their blood chemistry is like nothing else. Like you're saying that they can help us figure out HIV, cancer.
I think they will be the eventual cure for a lot of things that ail us. A lot of the research we do. So to break it back down a little bit, blood chemistry on crocodilians, we know their blood kills every known virus and bacteria on contact. You can take a drop of their blood, put on the HIV virus, it kills it right then and there. The delicate thing is they're a cold-blooded animal. They have a nucleated red blood cell where we don't. There's some differences there. Their blood clotting factor, they can lose a limb. It can clot up like jelly right then and there, their blood. And so we don't quite understand how that works on that side. And, of course, you can't put that into a person or it's going to cause blood clots and a lot of terrible things that happen.
Okay.
So we're trying to figure out exactly the dynamics behind that. But, again, their blood kills every known virus and bacteria. What we're looking at beyond that with them is their endocrine system. Yeah. Their reproductive hormones are a direct match for ours. They're like 99.9% the same.
Wow.
So what we're doing is we're using them as a sentinel species for human health. They're an apex predator, so they eat everything in the environment.
Mm-hmm.
They're eating the birds, the turtles, the fish, each other, whatever's there.
Oh, really? They eat each other?
Oh, yeah, very common thing. It allows them to be basically a floating file of information to go take information from.
Yeah.
Right. So you go there, you pick up your file out of the cabinet, you find out what you need to know, and you move on to the next file. It's just what they're there to do. And we have an issue here locally with a lot of different types of chemicals that people know the words now and know what's going on, and we're trying to dig further into it.
Yeah. So let's go back to that because you take the blood sample from the back of the neck and you find these. I mean, when I grew up here, we would see a rocket launch maybe once a year, and now it's like once a week maybe.
Yeah, it's so all these things are. It's not. You can't point the finger at one place. This is all stuff that's due to. Man, there's so many different levels of contamination around our local area. You can start with septic tanks, and you could go on to large industrial areas. I mean, you can blame it on everybody, from people in their yards putting fertilizers out to you name it. It's one of those things where we need everybody to kind of get on board and come together and make a difference as one before anybody starts giving anybody else a hard time.
Well, how do we do that? How do just...
It's education. Again, it's education, understanding what the sources of contamination are, and eliminating them. If it has to be one at a time, eliminating them one at a time. And then get everybody in the whole community to buy into what you're trying to do.
Okay.
And that's how you make a difference.
Well,
It's education.
What are you doing in your life to sort of minimize that? Are you not doing like pesticides? Are you not?
I've never used pesticides ever. Never ever in my yard have I ever done anything like that.
Right.
I don't use fertilizers or pesticides. I try to handle things like that naturally with other animals.
Okay.
Just I try to let them work it all out on their own.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a kid, that's one of the things we used to always go do. We'd wait for rainy nights and go out with brown paper bags and collect toads. We'd come fill up the whole yard with toads. That was again, you want to keep away animals, you find a way to balance it out.
With another animal.
Yeah.
Or even a plant.
Yep. No doubt.
Yeah, we got to think more like that.
Yeah. Now you're kind of hard pressed to even go out and find a toad somewhere. They just don't exist anymore. They're around, but they're just hard to find.
What happened to them?
Their issue is like with a lot of other animals. I mean, when I was a kid, Port St. John was full of a lot of things that aren't there anymore. A lot of it's pesticides being sprayed.
Yeah.
It just wipes things out.
So we have to stop that.
Yep.
Stop the pesticides.
Stop all the things.
Yeah, I know. I feel like we need to just wipe everything clean and start over.
That's kind of where we're at right now with the world in general. We've kind of screwed a lot of stuff up. It's time to everybody kind of go wash their hands, back up for a minute, and go, let's start changing things. Now, what's going to be the first thing to change?
Yeah.
Let's change it, and then make a choice and go with that and do one thing at a time.
Well, are the right people listening to you? Like, you can educate until you're blue in the face, but if the people in charge are not doing anything about it, then...
I think there's a portion of our country that listens to things. People, again, our world is so divided right now in so many different ways. Environmental stuff is just one more thing I think divides people. It's kind of sad to say that, but until we can get everybody to kind of buy into what's going on and the purposes we have behind doing it, it's going to be hard. You're going to be hard pressed to get any real change.
I mean, it just seems like such a black and white issue, right? Don't spray chemicals on your lawn.
I think everybody pretty much says that about any issue that's going on in our country right now.
Because they'll be on one side or the other.
It's 50-50 one way or the other, no matter what it is.
Yeah. That's unfortunate.
It is. It is. And you can't go tell people their ideas are messed up.
Well, because they won't listen.
Well, that it would just be wrong in the first place.
Yeah. Everybody's entitled to their own ideas, but we've come to a crisis in this world, and we need more people like you to educate us and get us on the right track.
I hope I can make a difference.
I think you are.
Hope I can make a difference.
I want to just talk to you one more thing before you leave. I know that I love your suit. I love your tie, your look. I kind of dressed down today because I thought, we're going to get rugged here. But you look amazing.
I still wear the flip-flops. It balances it all out.
It really does. You have to wear the flip-flops in Florida.
Yeah, I can't do shoes and a suit. It doesn't work together. Flip-flops and a suit. You can still flip the flip-flops off and get something done.
So when you were in Chicago, I read all the articles. You actually had met a lady friend up there. How's that going?
That didn't work out.
It didn't work out?
The distance thing did not work out. That was
that's tough.
Yeah, that did not.
Are you seeing anybody here?
No. Just me and the greasy beard.
I heard that you maybe wanted to chop the beard off.
I've been thinking about it. I've been going back and forth about it. It's about time to restart the journey.
Are you ready for a makeover?
It's about time to restart the journey.
I challenge any hair salon that wants to call us and make it happen. What do you think about that? Would you do it? If we set it up for you?
Yeah, I'd consider it for sure.
That would be great.
I would consider it for sure.
Ooh, all right. Let's hold you to that. And
I do have a sponsor that sponsors me up in Titusville. That's Sweet Caroline. It's her place up there. She takes care of my hair and keeps me pretty good.
Oh, really?
And it's funny, when I was up there last week, I was like, Caroline, I think it's time. And she's like, Frank, it looks good. Why would you cut it off? I'm like, I just feel like maybe it's time. And she's like, don't just stop talking about it. And I said, okay.
Oh,
No, she's encouraging, because I'll go back and forth. Like, maybe
I know, because it's your look, right?
Yeah, it is.
And you wear it well.
It's hard to cut it off right before an event, because I'll go to my own event and nobody will know who I am. Yeah. That's a legit thing. Like, so who's the tall, lanky fellow in the corner? That's not Frank. That can't be Frank. Like, there's no way.
Frank 2.0.
Because I look like I'm about 12 without this thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, we all want to see now. I wish there was like a filter that you can see.
Believe it or not, Chicago's done some stories on my beard being shaved off. Yeah, so it's out there.
So everybody's just on pins and needles about it.
I don't know about that, but it's no. I mean, they've done stories when I've shaved it before.
Oh, you have shaved it before. So there's photo evidence.
This is, I think, 8 months.
Ah.
Yeah, this ain't long. I reshave quite a bit.
Okay.
If you were to have, if you had a beard growing contest, I'm pretty sure I'd win it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't take long. No, by all means. No, I shaved. I had to shave clean before surgery, and then I shaved. Maybe about 8 months ago.
Here's your surgery picture, but we can't see because you have a mask on your face.
Yeah, that was right after they pulled the tube out of my chest.
Oh
the breathing tube.
And look
the pressure
at you.
mask. Good times.
You are you're
It's hard to look at those.
Chipper.
Yeah, it's hard to look at those pictures.
Really?
No, it's I remember them calling me after surgery several times from the hospital and be like, "So Frank, how do you feel?" Like, blessed.
Yeah.
Feel super blessed to be here. Do you feel depressed? I'm like, depressed? Like, why would I be depressed? And I didn't realize it, but apparently when people get their chest cracked, it's a very common thing for depression to really take over on people. And I'm like, I never felt that way. I felt super excited to still be alive and to still be enjoying my friends and family and the work I do. You know,
I can imagine.
Well, it was so nice there. They actually let me. I told the doctors, I'm like, look, I'm not going to be comfortable unless you guys let me pray with everybody before surgery starts. And they had like 20 people in the room. I said, sure. They stopped everything, brought everybody to the bed. I pray with everybody, and that was put me super, super at ease. And I had some other friends I had made in Chicago that had the same surgery years beforehand, and they gave me some ideas and some thoughts on things, and I ended up writing a letter out to all my family and friends. Like, each one of them got their own letter. Like, if I didn't make it, everybody knew where I was at, where I stood with things, knew I was happy, knew everything was good, and you see what the good Lord has in mind for you next.
Yeah, and you took that second shot of life, and
Yep.
doing great things, and I'm so happy that we connected and that we got to meet you and have you here in the studio. And if there's anything that we can do, please let us know, because you're obviously an amazing guy, and let us know how we can help.
Absolutely honored, guys. Honor's all mine. And if you guys are not busy January 19th, I hope you'll come maybe set up a table and tell people about the stuff you guys are doing here.
Amazing.
Yep, and we'll for sure get you on the Ears podcast as well.
Oh, I'd love to.
1,000%. We'll get you guys both in there.
Thank you, Frank, so much.
Thank
Thanks
you
for coming. Thank you for sharing all of your critters. That was fun for me. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
To be a sponsor or nominated guest, hit us up on the socials. Until next time, bye.